T-Boys TV, we are here for the match reaction. Absolutely spineless, gutless performance. Absolute shower of shite. Barnsley 5, Luton Town 0. Now, lineup when I originally saw it, thought it was a 5-4-1. I thought Keeley was in goal. It was obviously a back 5 or 3, whatever you want to call it. It was obviously the back 3 being Naismith on the left, Anderson in the middle, Mengi on the right, Jones right wing back, Bramall left wing back. And then I thought the midfield was Nelson on the left, Kadoa on the right, and things like that. But it obviously, was all crazy. And according to Flashcore, I don't know how true it is, but it was a 4-2-3-1 apparently. It was definitely one up front. Why do we keep persisting with one up front? I said it last season. When we won a game as well, by the way, when you're more positive, when we won a game against Sheffield Wednesday, I come out of that game and said we need two up front. We had less strikers then than we do now. Whether you rate Nordos or not, the way we play, especially today, so predictable. Play it out wide because the strikers are not getting onto anything. We should be playing him, giving him an opportunity. People might revert back to the game the other day in the youth team. I don't look at that game. He was getting manhandled. You could see what fucking he had under his shirt, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? I'm not looking at that game. Yeah? I'm looking at players like, we're sitting there going, oh yeah, Rio Walter's going to be the answer. When he's back, we've got a right. No. I said this in August. We needed a left back and a right back. Yeah? Yes, we got Bramall in, but if he gets injured, what? Naismith's on the decline now. I'm sorry. He's not good enough anymore. He's not what he used to be. He's all over the place. Poor in this game. And everyone was so poor. It's just absolutely dire. Absolutely dire in this game. Sloppy start yet again, like we've had a lot this season. There's too many goals, mate. Too many goals. Too many errors. At half time, they could have absolutely obliterated us. They were 3-0 up. Could have been even more. Saville gets a yellow card. Usually I don't mind when he gets a yellow card because he's getting stuck in and things like that. But in this game, he was poor. His crosses were awful as well. Couldn't even get him to the front. Well, just about got him to the front post on corners. Got a silly yellow card. Wells come off, had a good chance. Yeah, you could say it's good defending. But at the same time, how many times have our strikers, especially him and Yates, they've been in a position like that. They've took that extra touch. They've took a heavy touch. And not scored. And at the end of the day, on top of what they have brung, which is absolutely nothing to this football club so far this season, people are going to have their doubts when they're 1-1. People can sit there and go, oh, you've got to back them. Well, they've got to give something. And I've said this about the home form. The players have to give the fans something. It can't just expect the fans, especially with how poor we've been the last 2 years, could be 3 years, the way we're going on, to sit there and expect the fans to just be right on it. No, the players have got to show something. And that today was an absolute fucking disgrace. Yeah? All them fans that went to that game should be getting a refund. That was absolutely disgusting. Yeah? But you had Barnsley fans sitting there saying they're playing like Brazil. Right? A team that's been in League One for a while now. Massive credit to them. They definitely deserve to beat us without a shadow of a doubt. And I also felt they dealt really well with our wide players. But again, it goes back to what I say. We are so predictable. It's ridiculous. We're going to play it out wide. You see in the first half, Kadoa was getting tripled on. If that's even a fucking word. Do you know what I mean? But triple players on him. And then when Ali come on, similarities in that sense. But the strikers, I'm sick to death of them now, not doing anything. And I'm sick to death of this one up front. It's not working. Bin it off. Bin it off. We've not got the players to be doing that. And yeah, just an absolute shambolic first half. Liam Walsh got a yellow card. Poor in this game. I thought he was poor in the last game. Misplaced passes in the last game. This game, sort of back to his old self in terms of the tackles. Silly tackles. All over the place. And yeah, frustrating. He had a shot right at the end of the game as well. We were 5-0 down anyway, but he had a shot and fucking hell, that was awful, man. Don't shoot. You've never scored for Luton, mate. You've got 2 assists in coming up to 2 seasons. Yeah, it's just an absolute shambles, mate. Absolute shambles. But yeah, I mean, we got an own goal, Kadoa. But again, I'm not going to be too harsh on Kadoa because at the end of the day, we should have addressed positions there for them to deal with that. You know, more defensive-minded players. We should not be having attacking players. You know, like, for example, Asaya Jones, right? Playing a bit more deeper in games, defensive. Why? He's an attacker. You're limiting him. Yes, he can play as a right wing back, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal. We need to stop doing this, but we can't do anything until January. It's way too late now for us to go in a free market. And even then, no, they have to get up to speed, this and that. So, yeah, it's just absolutely shambolic, guys. But, yeah, I mean, we made subs at half-time, which I knew we weren't going to come back at 3-0 anyway. Well, to be honest, I thought 2-0 the game was done. You know, but we made some changes. We had to just try something, I guess. Obviously, Bram will come off. Bit surprised about that. Ali, by the way, Ali, what has happened to you, mate? I've got to be totally honest. What has happened to you? I mean, going into the season, me and my dad thought he would be our key player. I actually said he'd be our top scorer. Large part of that was because we didn't actually have that so-called number 9. So I weren't actually sure who our striker was going to be. But you know, he looked good in pre-season, running at players and taking players on. You know, obviously the end of last season, very good as well. Nearly kept us up. But this year, absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Does not drive at players enough, you know, and he just fell off a cliff, man. And, you know, it's so disappointing because I thought he'd really, really kick on going into this season. But yeah, obviously Richards come on. Could argue he could have started, or should have started, shall I say. Obviously, there was rumours he had a knock in the last game, so that's maybe why he didn't. But then again, you can also go back to that saying, well, you know, if he's fit enough to play, then he's in the squad. And that's what it was with him. Hakeem come on. I actually felt sorry for Hakeem. The only players I felt sorry for today was probably Mengi and him. I actually thought Mengi was all right. Hakeem obviously did score. It's offside. Great finish, by the way, for a defensive-minded player, but yeah, I mean, done more than the attackers, getting into more flipping positions than the attackers try. Yates was dropping deep again. And again, he might be being told to do that. But when you've got one up front and then you're trying to, you know, play the ball into someone, who's there? Nobody's there. Bin this one up front off. I'm sick to death of seeing it. If I was saying it last season when we had less strikers, why are we still persisting with it now? I really, really don't understand why we're doing that, to be honest. And then obviously Lamine come on. Lamine nearly scored, actually, thinking about it as well when he come on. Good defending from them. And yes, they were time wasting from early and things like that. But at the end of the day, we was not good enough. And, you know, Wilshere, for me, he's got to be honest. And his match reaction probably will be out by the time, or his post-match, whatever you want to call it, by the time this drops. But he's got to be honest, man. He got it wrong for me. I mean, I looked at that lineup, and I said it on a watch-along. I was sceptical about Wells starting up front again, and Nelson playing in this game, because I don't think Nelson done enough to warrant a start, you know, in this game against Rotherham. I don't think he done enough in that game. He had a shot that was awful, you know, and he's not been good enough. You see Richards coming in, do what he's doing. Nelson's not cutting it. You know, I said that last week. And it's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating because, you know, it's just like, what does he see in Wells that us as fans are not apparently seeing? I don't understand. Like, what does he need to do? Obviously, he got injured, and I don't wish injuries on no one, but it's literally took him to get injured to not be playing for us, you know, in terms of a league game, which is just silly to me. Absolutely silly. So, very disappointing because we go into the Huddersfield game now, and they've won 3-1 today away at Mansfield. And people might go, Mansfield ain't great. Well, we're not on great form, you know, now, obviously with that heavy defeat. And we lost to Mansfield. You know, let's not forget that. So let's not, at home as well. So let's not sit here and act like, oh, it's just only because the opposition. Huddersfield now 7th. Obviously, if they were to beat us on Tuesday, depending on other results, but obviously I think there's only one other game, rescheduled games, they can go in the playoffs. So they're going to be right up for it now. And that's where they should be, let's be honest, especially if they're transfers that they done during the summer window. But yeah, I mean, this player here, Alfie Doughty, obviously not here anymore. Poor on the calendar, by the way. Absolutely poor. You know, in terms of the players, half of them still ain't flipping here or not here anymore. You know, we knew he was going to go. Our key asset. You know, why did we not replace him? Yes, we got Bramall, but let's be honest, we're all sceptical when we got him. I think he's come in and done all right overall, but in terms of getting another option if he's to get injured, we didn't do that. You know, me and Rich, shout out to Rich, in August, we said we needed a left back or a right back. What are we doing? You know, and the strikers, I mean, looking at them on paper, you thought they'd be good signings, but they're just not. And it's got to that stage now where you need to, like I say, you need to bin this one up front off. I'm sick to death of seeing it now. It's not going to work with anyone. Even with Nordos, you know, when he played there against Stevenage, didn't work. Had chances, but didn't score. He's a player that needs beneficial, you know, help from elsewhere. But we're not playing him. And yeah, Makoso, I would like to have answers on what's going on with him, you know, because at the end of the day, he come in at our Watford game last year and he looked really, really good since then, was the shoe in the team regularly. What is it of him? I'd like to know. We need answers now. We need answers, because at the end of the day, we've got a big enough squad to know where these players are at. And, you know, it's just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. And, yeah, there's just no cohesion in the squad as well. There's no consistency. You know, one game we'll go over back three, one game we'll go over back four. Yeah, it's just disappointing, man. Absolutely disappointing. But, yeah, Barnsley definitely deserved it and they'll be loving it. You know, they could have scored 10. Could have honestly scored 10 today. Absolutely embarrassing from us. And we need to bounce back, but we're at home where we're actually worse than away. And I have no confidence, like I say, especially if seeing how Huddersfield done today. Also the fact, like I say, if they win, they can go in the playoffs. So yeah, very, very disappointing. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Barnsley fans, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them watching this. Absolutely loving it. Got to hold that, but yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you be overconfident again in terms of going into the season, the higher ups. You know, I'm sorry, it's just egotistical again. You know, you think you're going to do better. You know, we didn't address, you know, the out wide defensive positions. Oh, it's just absolutely shambolic. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Barnsley fan, Luton fan, or neutral fan if you watched it. I mean, a neutral fan if you watched it. Probably shocked, but also liking a high-scoring game, I'm sure. But yeah, big up to everyone. And yeah, big up to everyone that watched the watch-along as well. Tomorrow, I've got a preview of a Huddersfield fan, Caden, who's been on the channel before, many years ago when we were playing with them in the Championship, or against them, shall I say. And then, obviously, we got the Hat Show. So that's going to be great, the player ratings. And then I'll be at the Huddersfield game. Stupidly decided to go to that. So that's going to be fun. There will be match reactions there. And there will be a vlog. So, yeah, content every single day up until Tuesday. So, yeah, big up to everyone. Smash a like, subscribe. Follow me across all my socials. Subscribe to the Extra channel. Take care. Peace.